making a video to show people on what I do for grading, and I'm basically doing it just because when I first started, I would just basically grab all the cars that I have, send them out, and hope for the best. And after watching a bunch of videos from other people that have graded for a long time, and also from my own mistakes, I kind of got it down to not a science, I would say, but more or less on how to properly do it to get the best results. So these are 3 of the tools that I use, mainly the only tools that I use really. And from what I've seen from other people that actually do grading or send stuff to get graded, they use the same or similar things like this. And then from watching videos of former employees of grading companies, these are usually what they recommend using. So first we have one of these cards that you can get anywhere, basically online or at a card shop sometimes. And this will tell you the centering, and then I'll show you guys how to do it later. They sell different lights like this. This is basically something to shine a bright LED, and then you have a magnifying glass to look at the card. And then this one charges up. It has a little battery there and stuff, so but you can plug it. They're pretty cheap. I think $5 online as well. And when I basically bought a set that came with the light, one of these, and then a cleaning cloth. From my understanding, they don't clean your cards whenever you send them to get graded. So if it has any like dust or anything like that, it does affect your grade. Again, it's a mix of things. Some former graders say they will actually do it to be nice, and other people will say they just do it with the dust particles and stuff like that, just because it's faster and they only have a few seconds to grade your card. Even though it takes months for you to get back your card, they literally just look at it for a few seconds. But yeah, so let me go ahead and get some of my cards, and then I'll go through the process. So this is my personal collection, and as you can see, there's already some spots missing from cards that I've selected. So what I start with is I go through my binder. I look for the cards that I want to send off to get graded, but I only go through them if well, let me go ahead and just show you. So let's say I'm thinking about sending this card to get graded. I pull it out, I do a quick look to see if the centering is okay. If the centering is fine, I mean, I can already tell that this one's off-centered. It's a little top and right heavy. But let's say I think the centering is decent enough to send. Pull it out, and then completely pull it out of the sleeve. And so I start looking at it, right? This is without any tools or any light, just a first quick look to see if I will send it. So it has some white spots on the corners. If I'm trying to go for like a 10, if I see any white spots, I won't send it at all. I won't even think about taking it to the next step, unless it's a card that I really like and I don't really care if it gets a 10 or not, which I've done. I can show you some of them later on, but I will probably send these one day, but not right now. Right now I'm just trying to get 10s if I'm being honest. So there's some of my cards. This is my Charizard binder, but I have other stuff in it, so I'm gonna skip to the very back. So this page has been rated. Okay, getting there. Okay, so in the very back I make a few pages that are just for cards that I think are potentially gradable, right? And then I basically, once I'm ready, I will take them out one by one. I guess that's the only way you can take them out, right? One by one. And I'm not really that nice to my binders, so. I'm kidding, I'm really nice to my binder. Oh, I got very happy yesterday with how many cards I was gonna send over. Of course, probably half of these won't be gradable, or at least won't be gradable to my standards. That I want to get at least a 9 or a 10 on these. And I guess I have a bunch of these. I'm probably gonna pick 1 or 2 to send, just to get graded. And when I have a bunch of them like that, I will only send the cards that I think are gonna be 10s. I'm talking about the Pikachu, not like all of the cards themselves. If I have a bunch of the same card, I will tend to just filter through all of them and get the best ones out and send them out. All right, so again, let's get our tools. And then, so we basically start from left to right. I'll start looking at the centering. Then I'll look at it closer through the light. And if it makes it, I will try to wipe it down if there's any dust or anything like that. And then put it back on a sleeve and get ready to send over. So I wanted to start with this guy because, you know, some of my favorite cards are Charizard. So I guess I'll pull it out of the sleeve. And no, I don't use gloves to touch these. I've sent so many that you touching it is not gonna change anything, because you're gonna wipe it anyways. So, okay, so I'll show you how to use this. No, you don't put it and then try to center it like that. What you do is you align each edge to the edge of the card, right? And then it has these little lines that will tell you a number between 1, 2, and 3, depending on the card that you're using. For Pokemon cards is mainly 1 and 2. I mean, if you have a 3 or 4, it's probably an error card, which is a whole different thing. But anyways, 1 or 2. If you have 1 or 2, so let's line it up. So that's showing a 2. Then we take it to the opposite edge. So in this case, the right side. And then for these cards, sometimes it's hard to find the right edge or the end of it. So I'm going to use this corner and then this corner at the bottom and line it up. Again, I already did the whole looking at them earlier and lining them up. So this one is showing me a little bit over 1. So that's when I start doing it again. So let me do it again on this side. A little bit over 1. Okay, yeah, I did it wrong the first time. That was my mistake. So yeah, this one. And I line up the edge of the black line with the edge of the card. And that was the mistake I made. I didn't line it up. I lined it up with the inside of the edge, which, I mean, you can probably do it too. So yeah. So that gives me a little bit over 1. And when I do it on this side, the right side, a little bit over 1. So the left and right look pretty good. Now I'm doing the top. Top looks good. It's a little bit over 1. And bottom is a little bit over 1 as well. So I don't know if you guys can see it. Okay. So now I'm gonna put it to the side for a second. Take this little guy out. And yes, it takes a little bit of time, but the way I see it, this is kind of fun, you know? It's part of the hobby. So now, basically look at the card through the lens and a bright light. Start looking at the edges. I mean, that front looks beautiful. Sometimes it's kind of sad when the front looks perfect, but the back of the card looks like crap. They make really good binder copies though, so. Okay, the front of this one looks good. I don't see any scratches or anything. Another big thing that they look for is dimples on the cards. Don't see any on this one. Okay, so let me look at the back. Okay, that looks good. That looks good. Then I kind of just look through the entire card. And then I tilt it sometimes to look at the reflection. And that will usually show you any imperfections in the card, but I mean, this one's really good. Okay. So the back looked really good to me as far as like centering. At least on Pokemon cards. The back centering, unless it's horrible, it won't count as much as the front centering, but it might bring you down from a 10 to a 9, right? But usually if the front centering is on point, the back centering is just as good. A little bit over 1 on the left. It's very close to a 2 on the right side. Not as close on the left side. Very close on the right side. Okay. So I'll consider that a little bit left. I mean right heavy. The top is exactly at 2. Which the bottom is exactly at 2. Okay. I would send this. I would say it's really close to a 10. So I'm gonna send it and hope for the best. Basically, I'm just cleaning. And I usually grab it by the edges and I try not to bend it. Very light. I do not recommend using they sell like this wax thing that they use to make the card look better. But now they're cracking down on using stuff like that on cards. And they will send it as altered if you send it like that. So I'll put this aside. The top loader, this is not the one that you use to send to get grading. So I will just put that aside. And so I'm putting just the cards on sleeves on one side and then the top loaders on the other side, because these are gonna go on a different one. Something to note, if you're sending them over, do not use the sleeves that are very tight. I might have one to show you guys. Oh yeah, I have one right here that I'll show you. Because if you're nice to your cards, right? the grader or whoever is working might not be as nice to your cards as you are. So if you can, send them with these that are a little bit more loose, because that gives them the opportunity to not try to get that card out and damage it in the process, right? Before they even grade it. So I'll show you exactly why. So this one, they look really clean on once you put it on top loaders, or if you just put them on binders, but it's kind of hard, like you're squeezing your finger in there to get the card out, or you might not even, you keep doing this and then you start bending the card, right? So that's not the best. It's really good for a binder, and I initially wasn't gonna send any of these to get graded. I just like them, but it's always good to have a PSA 10 Pikachu of anything, really. So I'm sending that one over. Yeah, I'm gonna go through, that's basically what I do, right? I'm gonna go through these, and then I'm gonna see if I find an example of a different card that looks perfect, but it isn't. So stay tuned, okay? Okay, so here's an example, right? So from just looking at the card, it looks really clean. It looks really clean. The edges look good on the front. The centering is almost perfect. It's a little bit slightly bottom heavy, which means it's wider at the bottom than it is at the top. And when you look at the back, first glance, it looks perfect. All right, a little dust here and there. And then you'll think, oh, this corner, that's probably just dust. But let me see if I can get it closer. Get the camera to focus. So I don't know if you can see, but on this little edge right here, there's a little white speck. And first I thought it was dust, but it's actually a white spot on the card itself. So depending on who's grading it, that's gonna hit a 9. I like this card, but I don't love it to the point where I want a 9 in a slab. I will just probably keep it in my binder for that. Another thing you need to think about is how much money you're willing to spend sending these over. And it's expensive to send them, so I'm not gonna spend the money to send this one over if it's just not gonna get a 9. And I mean, they might find little imperfections here and there also that might bring it even more down to a 8. So it's not worth sending. These are worth sending because in my eye, they look like 10s. Of course, you know, I'm not an expert by any means, but I'm okay if I get a 9 on the Charizard. The Pikachu, I'm okay if I get a 9 on the Pikachu as well, especially because it has that stamp. So I just thought it was cool, but you know, it's up to you. Okay, last one. Now, this is one of those cards where that a lot of people have in their collection. And, well, not this specific card, but I mean, you'll understand. It's that card that you really want it to be a 10. Because it's a $3,000 card if it gets a 10, right? But you have to be mindful that a lot of these are pricey as a 10 because it's really hard to get a 10 on these cards, right? Well, the exception is kind of like the Mega Charizard EX or Mega Charizard X EX or Mega Charizard X, whatever. That one's just a really good card, and a lot of people want it, so it's expensive. Even if there's a lot of 10s out there, people are still willing to pay the amount to get a 10, right? For this one, not a lot of them get 10s because this is a promo card, and a lot of them got dinged up in the box, or people took it out and it messed up the back somehow. So we'll see. Let me check. Also, printing was not as good as far as like I'm concerned in this era of Pokemon. So a lot of these cards are very off-centered. So the left side is a little bit over 1. And the right side is slightly over 1. It's basically at 1. You can see a little bit of extra, just kind of like a little bit. So that's positive. The top one, top of it looks pretty close to a 2. The bottom of it, it's top heavy. Damn. Not slightly top heavy, it's like very top heavy. So it's at 1, the bottom, and the top is basically at 2. So that drops you down to a 9 automatically. So these are tricky because they have that double line. If you just look at them, they look very uniform. It looks like it might trick you into thinking that they're that is centered correctly. And I'll show you another reason why it will get a 9 or an 8 even. I don't think you'll get an 8 just because it's just, this is not danged or like it doesn't have any scratches or dents. The back, damn, the back looks good too. Yeah, so I think the centering in the front is going to be the one thing that brings it down. That was dust, so I mean, there's a little bit of white in that corner. I don't know if you guys can see. I don't know if you can see that little corner. Maybe if I put my hand there. So there's a little bit of white in there. Maybe this will help. So not the top, because that's just the reflection, but right there, a little bit of white there. Also a little bit of white on this side as well. Right, I don't know if you can see it. It's kind of hard to see. Yeah. It's hard to tell. So sometimes for something like this, right? What will you do? Send it, risk it for the biscuit? is it worth sending? Is it not worth sending? I think it's worth sending, right? Because even if you get a 8 or a 9, the card's not going to depreciate in value if you're worried about the dollars, but it's also going to be in a case, and it's not going to get any worse than it already is. For example, for this one, it's worth it, in my opinion. I don't think this card is ever going to go down in value because it's just a cool card, and it has Umbreon, and a new set is coming up with this guy, so I think it's worth it. So I'm going to go ahead and send it as well, even though if I'm almost 100% sure it's not going to get a, probably not even a 9, but we'll see. We'll see. You never know. On the opposite of this one, which the value of it is not really there. I really just wanted it on a case. And since I'm already sending all these other cards, I don't think it's worth sending this. Not until I get my other cards anyways. Okay, now let's go down to the other ones. And yeah, so move all this out of the way. And then I'm getting the cards. Okay. So these are the cards that I'm going to go ahead and send over. Oh. I'm not saying they're all gonna get 10s. I'm expecting a bunch of them to do. And I'm expecting a lot of 9s and maybe 1 or 2 8s. But like I said, at the end of the day, the people that grade these, right? They're just like you and me. They're looking at them again with the same equipment or similar equipment. I mean, I'm sure they have nicer equipment, but it's just your eyesight. One of these guys with a good light, and maybe one of these, and then maybe a nicer extra magnifying glass in some cases. But unless you send into like tag or CGC, ACE grading, right? A lot of them use AI, or they use a version of AI where they basically scan the card, and at the end of the day, there's somebody in a computer looking at it, and the AI helps a lot. It aids them to check if it's centered or if it notices any imperfections to begin with. The only problem I see with that is if you're looking at it through a screen, right? The AIs, a lot of the times, they don't really, or the way they see them, they don't get a lot of the dings or like a lot of the dimples, or they will 90% of the time, but a lot of times they don't. So even if it's a 10, one day you might look at it really closely and then you see, oh crap, that looks like a bump there, right? So I don't know, it's up to you. You can send them anywhere. Personally, I like for value PSA, right? Everyone hates PSA. I don't hate them, I don't love them either, but right now it's the best value for your cards. Tag is coming up. Tag is also a good grading company. Just because I like their slabs, the way they look. It's more about looks when it comes to them. CGC, I don't mind them. I have a bunch of CGC slabs, but those are usually just personal cards that I just wanted to have in a slab to take care of. And then you have Ace Grading, which is out of a YouTuber that I really like. Started that company, and their slabs look really good, right? But it's one of those you pay for what you get type of thing, so you can get a better looking tag on the slab if you pay a little bit more. So, and it's really expensive to send to the UK because they're based out of the UK, and it's just expensive just to send them over. And then they do take less time than any other grading company though, but again, you're running the risk of sending it overseas, right? So I don't want to do that. So I just stick to PSA, right, for now, until tag holds the value. Right now it looks like they're head to head, but on the long term, I want to see if tag holds their value. If they do, then I'll start grading with them as well. But for now, I'm gonna stick to what I've been doing. Let me know if you like the video. If you like the video, I'll probably I can show you guys how I actually set up the order on PSA and how I package them as well. So let me know.